All right, everybody, welcome back. This is Marshall from Wolves Den TV. If this is your first time tuning in, thank you. If you are not new here, then sorry for the wait. We got some new gear, and we got a whole lot of new troubles on the tech side. So there's a lot of scripts I've been writing, but in terms of actually launching and recording content, it took me a long time. So here I am. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Today's video is practical tips to help grow your faith at any stage. Now, big disclaimer, at no point is this me preaching or me talking from a high horse. I struggle with more things than probably you do, okay? So this is not like looking down on anyone. I'm just here to share some things that I've learned in my short journey, my faith Christian journey that has been really, really, really important. And I want to try to give them practical tips, okay? Meaning, like, what can we actually go out there and do to try and start bearing some fruit, start turning our lives around and improving some things and making some spiritual progress. So let's get right into it. First off, especially if you are a non-believer or you're just thinking about getting into faith, the first thing I would recommend is see how worship music moves you. I remember very clearly as a child, the first time I really, really connected with worship music, it was super profound. It was absolutely incredible. And if you're not sure, do you want to be a Christian? Do you what you have all these questions. First thing I would do is see if worship music moves you and how does it connect with you. Try just closing your eyes, get in an intimate setting, and really, really listen to it. I know a lot of the most hardened, cold people, because I was one, can be just unraveled emotionally with worship music. And I will literally leave my playlist that I personally love and have on rotation of worship songs in the YouTube bio so that you can access that easily, because I really think some worship music is so good and so powerful that can lead a lot of people to the kingdom. So that's personally just how I connect mostly with the Holy Spirit. That is obviously because I'm a musician. But with secular music, I'm constantly thinking about how did they produce this? How did they write this? All these questions, things like that. When I listen to worship music, it is full immersion, okay? And that's really powerful for me because I can't get immersed in music really anymore. I'm always thinking about the key of a song, the composition, like I said. I'm not just in it. And worship music has the opposite effect. I am just straight up in it. So I really, really like that. So why don't you just check out a couple songs in this playlist and see how it affects you. I could list so many, but personally, I think my all-time favorite for most moving right now is Elohim. If you're a rock fan, if you're a fan of really epic music at all, please listen to that one. I think you're going to be really, really surprised. If you have to just pick one, I think that's what I would pick for you to listen to. Next up, if you're not sure about going to church, I understand that. Find a pastor online, or find some Christian content you can watch online. There is a huge resurgence. There's a huge movement of people coming to church and coming to the faith. And I think that is large, honestly, this sounds silly to say, but I think that is in large part of Christian edits on YouTube, Christian edits on TikTok and Instagram. It's getting people excited. It's getting people pointed towards the truth again. And if you are not sure, you might be having some church hurt. You might have a sense of shame or guilt, which totally don't, about coming back to church for the first time in a long time, or first time in general. If you really, really feel too strongly, obviously I would first start by saying you don't need to, but if you're really feeling that way, try out some content online. There's plenty of pastors online that have great things to say. I personally have been watching Isaiah Saldivar for years. Okay, he's helped me so much. If I need my cup to be full on like a Wednesday and it's just like, oh man, it feels like it's been too long since Sunday and I can't wait till this Sunday. If I need my cup more full, I'm tapping into Isaiah Saldivar. Got plenty of other guys. Philip Anthony Mitchell, I'm in Atlanta. He's there. Watch some of his stuff online. The point is that you will never be upset finding some good content online. Another thing that really, really helped me in the online sphere was you can search up on YouTube like these morning prayer videos. I think I'll leave a link to the guy that I like. He's got a British accent. He just talks about the Lord, talks about our purpose, and then we'll pray. So if you're also feeling like I want to be in this, but I don't know how to pray, I don't know where to start, or I don't have anyone to pray for me, videos like that, daily morning prayers, are a great, great way to just dip your toe in the water and experience some of that glory before you work your own morning prayer into your routine. So if you're unsure about church, find a pastor or Christian content online. The morning prayer videos, like I said, worship music is a great one to start. A great way also, if you're thinking, this is kind of why it's 2 in 1, you can also watch some of these, like Elevation Worship, watch these worship bands play live on YouTube. And it's not just the music that will take you there, but seeing how filled with the Spirit they are, how intimate and submissive they are in worship, I think we'll do a lot. I think we'll do a lot because it's done a lot for me, and it can really, really connect you. These people are not lying. They are not anything other than fully submissive to the Lord, and that's beautiful. That might be a great starting point. Next up was something again, not preaching. I just recently implemented this, and it's already been bearing fruit. I've been loving it. This is, it sounds crazy, but let's do it. Put your Bible next to your toothbrush, coffee station, or car keys, okay? The point is, anything to make it a priority, make it unavoidable, and set your tone for the day. So hopefully we're all brushing our teeth, right? Right. Now, I personally put them I put my Bible in my kitchen because when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do is make coffee. Doesn't matter when I wake up, doesn't matter how I wake up, doesn't matter anything like that. I'm in my house, I'm making coffee. So it's undeniable. It's impossible to walk away and not start my day like this if I put my Bible right next to my coffee. I was having coffee with some friends out, like breakfast basically, and one guy said, like, just put it next to your toothbrush. I was like, yo, that is crazy. But we're all brushing our teeth, right? If there's something you do that's already worked in your routine, consider putting your Bible there, and you will be shocked by how much more time you're spending in the Word and spending with the Lord. It's awesome. Car keys is another good one, something habitual, because we're trying to make this a habit. We know that our sanctification and our fruit, or we can bear more fruit, and all these processes can speed up and be more locked tight when we make it a habit. And again, not preaching. This is something I was horrible at, but putting it next to my coffee really, really, really helped me. And I pray that can help you all as well. And it just sets the tone for the day. So when I start with, I was doing the morning prayer YouTube videos, which was great. And then I said, okay, I want to build my own prayer life. I want to fall in love with myself praying. I want to fall in love with myself actually reading the Bible and not outsourcing it, which is a great tool. But I wanted to do it on my own, and I wanted to love it, okay? And so putting it next to my coffee, I mean, who doesn't like a morning coffee? Reading the Word, it sets the tone. I'm getting my mind right. It's been fantastic for me. That was an absolute game changer. And please pray for me that keeps up, that I don't lose that routine, because I've been really, really loving it. Next one is I'm about to get to an absolute home run, but here's another really good one, especially for non-believers or believers early in their journey like myself. We can set some small challenges. So if the video is practical tips to help grow our faith at any stage, what I'm in a season of is I'm setting very, very small challenges. And what I mean by that is I will go one day without cussing. That's what I tell myself. I've got a mouth like a sailor, and I don't want that anymore. And so what I did was I realized, that's just not the life I want to live. That's not the father and husband I want to be one day. Why don't I start that? So first day I try it, I cuss 4 times. And I'm holding myself accountable every time. The next day I go all day. I go, yo, let's go. One just slips out. You'll be shocked if you have a sailor mouth like I do, how reactionary our language is, how much lack of self-control I have. It just comes out. It's a figure of speech. It's an expression. It's the common thing to say now. I want to overcome that. I want to have my own thoughts again. I don't want to be cussing like that. So I set myself a small challenge. And this can be anything, however it applies to you. I'm going to go one day without cussing, because the goal is just to stop this behavior in my life permanently, hopefully. Or at least regain control of my own mind by regaining control of my own language. But you set small goals, but it's like, I'm not going to do that for one day. And now it's been 2 weeks. I've accidentally said one like every day out of pure reaction and instinct and just weakness. But I had, I think, 2 or 3 days where I really did go start to finish without it. And it felt really, really good. So whatever your current vice, current challenge is, just say one day. One day without that kind of content online. One day without the vape. One day without alcohol. And just see how that snowballs and carries over, because this has been monumental for me. Now, let's talk about the best one in this video, a guy in my group who leads my group actually told me about the ACTS prayer, ACTS. This is a game changer. ACTS prayer is like, I guess, a way to structure your prayer life. So it's 2026. I'm 26. So I've been attacked by internet, media, all of these things my whole life. The dopamine receptors are not doing well. Social media has damaged attention spans, all these kinds of things. So if you're in a position where you've been trying to pray and your mind wanders and you start thinking about dinner or you start thinking about this and that, it's really hard to sit down with attention and intention in your prayer. My buddy gave me this and I'm so grateful. It's a game changer. So how we've addressed the problem is attention while praying. And our mind drifts while praying. First off, that's totally normal, okay? But we can put up some guardrails, he taught me. So this is the ACTS prayer. It stands for adoration, confession, thanksgiving, and supplication. So these are like basically 4 things to hit while you're praying. I like to hit them in that order because that's how I stay focused. Adoration is telling God, thank you. We love you, giving him adoration. Speaking to Jesus like a friend, speaking to God like a friend, giving him adoration and praise. It's a beautiful way to start the prayer. Makes a lot of sense. Confession, pretty straightforward. What you struggled with, where you fell short, what sin we feel called to confess in our lives. That one's pretty straightforward, super healthy for the soul. Let's move on. Thanksgiving, pretty straightforward. What we're thankful for. These are practical things. God, thank you that I got this promotion. Thank you that my family member is feeling better. Thank you that I got through this event. Like, pretty straightforward, very healthy. Then the last one, supplication. I always did this, but I had to text my buddy. I said, what does it stand for again? Like, what is the actual word and all this? Supplication is just asking for things for yourself or for others. Praying that this non-believer friend of yours comes to church. Praying that your mom gets over the flu. Praying, praying for something in your own life. God, I really, really hope that... you name it, whatever you want to have in your life. So that's a good structured way to do it. I close my eyes. I give him adoration. I confess the sin I'm going through. I give him thanks for answered prayers and things of the sort. And then supplication, what I would like in my own life, how I'm praying for others. So that's really a good practical tip for wandering minds and just trying to funnel our prayers more directly. Next up, now we're getting a little bit deeper into it. Finding a church for community has been fantastic for my life. I started to try to follow Christ before I found a church body and a community that I was attending. But having the ability to talk to others in a good church group, like a good church will help you find these groups. They will help you get plugged into small groups or programs, men's groups, morning prayers, these kinds of things. It's really good for structure. We're all seeking a lot of discipline and, take the time to find a good church community. I know there's a lot of ones that have burned you, left a bad taste in your mouth. I'm in that exact boat. You have no idea. However, a good church community with people that you can relate to, people that you have good connections with it just absolutely changed my life. And I pray that if you're watching this and you're seeking that, you find that, because it is one of the most beautiful things ever. Now, the next step is sort of a follow-up on that, is consider serving at that church. Dude, you can just help with parking, right? Join the worship team, work with kids. At my church, we have people who do security. I mean, however, if you feel called to serve, my cup was extremely full while I was serving, and I just pray that for you too. I think that's very, very possible. So taking the time to find a good church and then consider serving at that church are really, really going to grow your faith. You'll be surprised at how you feel. I guess this next one we kind of already talked about a little bit, but yeah, getting plugged into a small group to discuss your concerns, your struggles, your questions. Never forget that iron sharpens iron, and that saying comes from the Bible, okay? If you are a man, because that's all I can speak for, get in a group, or at least find a good close friend that you can confide in, that you can confess in, that you can hold him accountable and he can hold you accountable. But a small group has absolutely changed my life. in a group with guys that there's many things that I relate to fully. There's a lot of things that we're sort of yin and yang on, and it's so healthy for discussion. It's so helpful for the soul. This is a great practical way that my faith has grown just by taking a small step. And I don't know if you're anything like me. I'm very, very shy. I was not open to sharing. I was not open to confiding. I was not even open to spending this hour and a half or whatever it is a week to talk because I was shy. I was nervous. Don't let that pitfall get you. It's an absolutely beautiful experience. And whether these guys look like you, talk like you, live like you or not, you will be shocked like I was at how beautiful the conversations are and how much you can grow in your faith because of that. Another thing is just remember that sanctification, the process of becoming more Christ-like, is slow, but that process of wanting to be better is worth it. And we're stacking small wins. So that is absolutely worth it. So my practical tip would just be to keep in your mind that, you know, if you have a hunger to come to faith, or even if you just have a hunger for more discipline or improving as a man, that's beautiful. That's awesome. God is going to be tugging on you and wanting you to come into the kingdom and wanting you to follow him. But it can be a slow process. We have a lot of habits to unlearn. So because we can acknowledge that it's a slow process, it's difficult, we fall, we might as well start soon, especially if we're not married yet or we're not fathers yet. But I can only speak for myself. There are so many avenues that I want to improve, that I want to have hardened, that I want to have chiseled before that I am at that stage where people are really looking to me and I have a lot more responsibility. So we're stacking small wins now. My current routine is I wake up at 6 a.m. And if you know my line of work, I don't have to work until way later. But what personally worked for me is waking up at 6 a.m., getting the body and the blood moving, and then I read my Bible and I pray with my coffee until 6:45, 6:50 until I get to the gym. We're going to save that one. We're going to talk about that. But intentional time, no matter the day, has helped me so much. I'm getting small wins. I used to be lazy with my workouts. I used to make excuses. I used to not have a good diet. I'm still working on that. But we need to stack small wins in physical, mental, spiritual, and emotional, right? So remember that this process can be slow, and every active step that we take, like being intentional with our Bible, joining a worship or joining a small group, whatever it is, can really, really help grow your faith in any season, right? So let's talk really quickly. Last point, how I mentioned the gym, the physical body. What the heck? How is this going to help us grow in our faith? Well, I believe very strongly that a healthy body can create a healthy mind. That discipline, self-control, two things I'm terrible at that I'm working on, that I'm praying for, can really come from dedication. A man who wakes up early, a man who works hard, a man who takes care of his body and treats it like a temple is going to have more self-control and poise. And, you know, if we discipline our bodies, we will discipline our minds. For me, I have a really bad temper. I have poor emotional control. I'm very reactive, and I want to change those things. And, you know, I can read my Bible, I can do all these things, but if I have some blockades, the progress of my physical body and what discipline that takes is helping my mind. Does that make sense? I won't let myself skip the gym. I won't let myself cuss. I do it. Dang it. Okay, come on, let's go. I'm not going to do it. You stack up these small wins. You know, the devil really wants us when we're comfortable. And in the time at my lowest, I'm skipping the gym, I'm eating, being a glutton, I'm just sitting, I'm playing video games, I'm doing nothing important. And if you want to grow closer to your faith, not ignoring discipline and self-control can be huge. And again, that's my number one thing. But in the last 2 weeks, it's been the most controlled and disciplined I've ever been. And I don't think it's a coincidence that I've felt more in love with God. I felt closer to God. I've genuinely enjoyed reading my Bible. I've genuinely enjoyed praying. I'm finding myself emotional again. I'm not cold. I'm not, have a hardened heart. I can just open up and be intimate in my prayer and be submissive to the Lord, and it feels amazing. So if any of these tips have helped you, please drop a comment. Say, hey, I already knew this one. I've been doing this and this helped me a lot, or I've never considered it. this is kind of what that's doing. I want this channel to be a platform to talk about anything really that's on my mind, but the all-time goal would be to help lead anyone to the kingdom, give anyone some tips to grow their faith. Prayer requests in the comments, anything like that. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you found something helpful. This is Marshall from Wolves Den TV signing off.